County chase involving a stolen box truck ended between Tyler and Chandler today, with the suspect being shot out of fear that he would injure a bystander. KLTV7's JD Conti has the very latest.
And then in a few minutes, there was a law enforcement presence like I've never seen.
After leading authorities on a chase through multiple counties, a suspect who is yet to be identified was shot by DPS troopers and later died after being taken to a Tyler hospital. Betty Swan has lived just off Highway 31 West in Tyler for 4 decades. He took this video of a helicopter involved in the chase.
Then I noticed the lack of traffic, and then I heard sirens coming from both directions, and Smith County Sheriff's Department was going west, and another one was coming east. Then the helicopter started circling, so I knew there was something happening out in the front highway. So I walked out there, and that's why I saw the truck in the ditch.
According to DPS Sergeant Adam Albritton, the box truck was stolen in Dallas, and the chase started in Kaufman County. The suspect then traveled through Wood and Smith counties along 1249. According to DPS, when the chase reached Tyler, the driver, quote, demonstrated an egregious and reckless disregard for other motorists, leading troopers to reasonably believe his actions of harming a bystander were imminent. A trooper then fired his weapon, ending the pursuit.
They had someone in the ditch, and the law enforcement officer was seriously doing chest compressions.
The Texas Rangers have taken over the investigation. JD Conti, KLTV 7 News.
And as you see in that shot right there, Highway 31 from Toll 49 to FM 2661 was closed for several hours today, but reopened around 3:30 this afternoon.